We have reached the point in Baki Rahen where the real story begins. It is finally time for Jack to face all of the main cast of characters and prove his might in the story. Jack Hanma vs Shinogi the Cord Cutter. It is about to begin. You could say the introduction of the arc is over. Chapter 1 reminding us of the might of current Jack Hanma. Chapter 2, a flashback of the youngest version we've ever seen of Jack, getting an understanding of his connection to religion and his goal since the beginning, to become the strongest creature alive. Ending Chapter 2 with the setup of this fight. Chapter 3, Shinogi vs Doppo Orochi in a sparring match. Chapter 4, the return of a very old character, Hanada, who ends up facing Hanayama in a quick fight, revealing to all of us that even the lower tier characters in the Baki universe have gotten much stronger, alongside putting Hanayama in the light of the story, someone who has yet to be called out by Jack or even have an interaction with Jack in the story. Chapter 5, Hanada returns to his previous master Motobe and begins his fight against the Cord Cutter. Chapter 6, they agree it's going to be an all-out fight. Chapter 7, Motobe cuts the fight short due to both of them not going 100% serious, not really being true warriors worthy of facing a monster like Jack currently. Chapter 8, we see Yujiro and Jack interacting, with Yujiro actually praising his son for the first time. One of the most important and impactful chapters we've ever gotten in Baki. Chapter 9, the Cord Cutter having a conversation with his brother where he's told not to die in his fight against Jack, bringing us to Chapter 10, which has them about to walk out. Some important things to note that we've got in this chapter is the characters actually watching the fight. The first one highlighted is of course Baki Hanma, the first person Jack officially called out after his return fight against Sukune, the Hanma brothers and part of the select group who have been praised by Yujiro Hanma in the story. Additionally, Baki is one of the few characters in the series who has also faced the Cord Cutter in a fight, of course an early fight in Grappler Baki. This is where we got to see the original showings of the Cord Cutter's abilities and how lethal he actually is. As a quick reminder, he's capable of the following. With a single finger, he can cut blood vessels, nerves, pretty much the ability to sever any cord. Doing this can create blindness in his opponent or even make various limbs unable to be used. Meaning Baki is the individual who will have the most insight to what's actually occurring throughout this fight, as Baki actually used the cord cutting techniques on Jack at the end of the maximum tournament. And of course, I would just like to see Baki be the main commentator for a fight. We don't really get that too often, mainly because he's the one having the big fights most of the time. Apart from that, we also have Hanayama here. I can't actually recall a moment where Hanayama even watched Jack have a fight or spoke to him in any way, spoke about him, so this is going to be pretty interesting. Hanayama has been done dirty in Baki Rahen of recent after his Hanada fight, meaning the rise of him in the story is something I definitely want. Perhaps Jack will call out Hanayama after this fight, and that's how we lead on to the next one. With it also making a lot of sense narrative wise to a degree, as Hanayama I would say is pretty much Baki's best friend in the series based on all the interactions and how Hanayama always pulls up for our boy. You love to see that, and even Baki pulling up for him in the Musashi arc. Also, Hanayama is part of the select group of characters who are being praised by Yujiro Hanma. Of course, in one of those chill, walking side by side down the street scenes, you love to see them. Apart from that, we also have Goki here, another character who faced both fighters in the maximum tournament, the Cord Cutter in the round prior to being defeated by Jack, a fight that of course Goki won without an insane amount of difficulty, but there was one moment in the fight where he could have actually lost. When the Cord Cutter did this to him, destroying his eye, which may have actually impacted his brain to a degree, but of course as we know, Goki has a fake eye due to a past injury against Yanagi, meaning he kinda got lucky in that instance, meaning the Cord Cutter even back in the maximum tournament did insanely well. However, it can be argued that his brother kinda let him win, with his brother once again being part of the group of characters that is being praised by Yujiro, and of course is someone who's been helping Jack all the way since the Maximum Tournament, someone who I guess is going to be mentally affected by the aftermath of this fight the most. We also have Doppo, Orochi and Katsumi here, with these three being all called out by Jack after the Sukune fight, meaning they have reason to be here due to of course facing Jack in the future, and these two are also being involved in the rise of the cord cutter in the story currently. Apart from that, we have Hanada still around, being I guess Shinogi's hype man or coach to a degree. I guess we're gonna have him talking about a lot of stuff in the fight. Hopefully Hanayama just disappears for a little bit and just crushes that boy so he can be I guess removed from the story for a little bit. I definitely hope he doesn't get a chance to fight Jack, doesn't deserve it by any means. But now, speaking about Jack, a large portion of this chapter is dedicated to Jack's I guess pre-fight warm-up, the of course ingesting of the copious amounts of steroids, preparing for the goods, and of course the butler guy of the underground, who's normally talking to Baki throughout the series, is now having a conversation with Jack, which I guess is pretty interesting, talking about his steroid use and how it looks like a way of pretty much keeping himself hydrated, which I guess is pretty funny. But Jack of course drops impactful lines saying it's not something to be proud of, it is simply a means to get stronger. As we know, Jack will do anything to pretty much gain strength, even claiming that if his body was to pretty much let him down, that is for one simple reason: his body is weak, end of story. I do wonder if getting praised by Yujiro or his conversation with his father is going to have some impact on Jack's motives. We learned since a very young age that his goal was to be the strongest creature alive, very different to Baki, as his goal was just to defeat his father Yujiro Hanma, who unfortunately just happened to be the strongest creature alive. Jack at this age I guess may not have known about Yujiro, perhaps he did, we don't exactly know. I'll say he didn't. Even back then his goal was to pretty much get the title his father also had, not I guess wanting to defeat him, it just happened to be that his father is the person he needs to defeat. However, this may not be all of the story. Of course, Yujiro's past with Jack's mother and that whole situation is probably why Jack wants to defeat Yujiro, which is probably his overall goal as well. As we saw after he defeated Sukune, he's pretty much willing to do anything if he's able to defeat Yujiro Hanma. However, after I guess having this conversation with Yujiro, seeing him not as I guess a pure demonic devil may have some impacts on Jack's mental state or I guess motives moving forward. We'll have to wait and see. To conclude, I believe this fight is going to be a little longer than I guess a lot of people expected. We had pretty much 7 chapters dedicated to building up the cord cutter and his rise in the story currently. Even this entire chapter was him stretching, warming up, getting prepared to the utmost degree to face Jack, and now it's time for him to prove what he's truly capable of. Of course, Jack's going to win this fight, but the cord cutter is definitely going to go out with an absolute bang. Is he going to die? Who knows? Let me know your thoughts of everything down below. Shout out to the Mad Lads who became members. You can do the same, which provides you with various benefits. But that's it guys, peace.